Drive in, pick fast. I'll pay for any tickets. That's what the HOA president screamed into a megaphone as 42 cars poured toward my gate on a Saturday morning. Buckets on every lap heading for 12 acres of Duke blueberries. My late wife's grandfather planted in 1947. She had spent the week telling her 260 neighbors. The farm had a community easement that did not exist. $21,000 of ripening fruit, an entire season's revenue, was about to be stripped in 3 hours by strangers who believed her. She was not enforcing rules. She was organizing a heist and calling it a community event. What she did not know was that I had spent 30 years as an agricultural attorney, and the sheriff's agricultural crimes unit was already waiting at my gate. Tell me below, would you have stopped them, or let her put her own crime on live stream? Let me take you back 4 days to the morning. Everything started. The sprinklers came on at 5:40. I know because I have listened to them every morning for 4 years. And I have stopped sleeping past the first hiss. I pulled on my boots by the back door. The leather was still damp from yesterday's dew, and the volcanic soil of the Willamette Valley clings to rubber like wet soles. Coffee grounds. My name is Thomas Brooks. Most people call me Tom. My wife Emily called me Tommy. But Emily has been gone 4 years this November, and nobody else has earned that name. I walked the middle row first. I always walk the middle row first. It is where Emily's grandfather planted the original Duke bushes. In 1947, cuttings he brought up from a cousin in Michigan, in a wooden crate lined with damp sphagnum moss. The bushes are older than I am. They still carry fruit, like they have something to prove. Halfway down the row is a cedar bench with a small brass plate. Emily Wilson Brooks, 1963 to 2022. She grew what she loved. I touched the plate, the way a man touches a lucky coin before a job interview, and kept walking. Hannah Pierce was already at the cold storage shed, wrestling a stack of empty 22 flaps. Years old horticulture senior at Oregon State. Hair in a braid the color of winter wheat, she called out across the gravel. Boss Burgerville confirmed for 300. Portland Saturday Market wants another 400. That's 4 more hours of picking than we had yesterday. We'll get it, I said. Saturday's going to be a day. I did not yet know how true that sentence would become. Back at the house, the first piece of mail that mattered was already in my hand. A cream envelope with embossed lettering. Willowmere Ridge Estates Homeowners Association, Mrs. Brenda Hollister, President. The paper had weight. Entitlement has weight. The letter demanded I sign over a 15-foot strip along my east fence line, so Willowmere Ridge could widen, Willow Glen Lane in exchange. The HOA would consider waiving certain non-conforming ornamental use concerns related to my farm road gate. Translation: give us your land, or we will start inventing violations. I had never met Brenda Hollister. I had seen her. You could not miss her white Tahoe linen blazer over yoga pants. Ray-Bans the size of saucers, the kind of woman who parks in front of the school crosswalk, because she believes crosswalks are for other people's children. I drove over that afternoon to decline politely. She stood on her porch with her arms crossed, a diamond tennis bracelet catching the sun, and smiled the way a principal smiles at a child she plans to expel. You'll regret making this personal, Mr. Brooks. Then she shut the door. I drove home under a sky the color of old denim. Crows argued in the cottonwoods along Dairy Creek. I pulled into my gravel drive and sat in the truck for a minute. Emily used to say that every farm has 2 kinds of weather. The weather in the sky and the weather in the neighbors. Both could ruin a season that night. I opened Emily's harvest ledger at the kitchen table, her handwriting in blue ballpoint still holding the line. Burgerville Saturday Market. Lux Provisions in the Pearl District. 2 wedding caterers. 1 church. 21 to 400 of committed written paid deposit orders. All keyed to Saturday pick. I closed the ledger, the refrigerator hummed. The old clock in the hallway struck 9. 4 days to Saturday, 4 days, to get that fruit off the bushes and into the hands of people who had paid for it. I did not yet know that at that exact moment, Brenda Hollister was typing a Facebook post. Tuesday morning, I found the signs, 6 of them zip-tied to my main gate. Cheap white corrugated plastic. Ink still bright enough that the wet grass hadn't blurred it yet. Public picking welcome Saturday, 8 a.m. Brooks Farm, bring your buckets. The lettering was that friendly Facebook community font, the kind designed to look neighborly while picking your pocket. Hannah saw them before I did. She came around the corner of the packing shed, with a pair of tin snips in her hand and a face like a storm front. "Tell me I'm allowed to cut these down," she said. "Cut photograph. Date the photo, save the sign in the barn. That's a lot of steps for trespass. Steps are how you win." She gave me a look that was half respect and half annoyance. And got to work. The zip ties snapped with a sound like popping kernels. She lined the signs along the shed wall like evidence, because that was exactly what they were. I drove into town and filed the report myself. Washington County Sheriff's Substation. Concrete block building with a vending machine that sold nothing. But Dr. Pepper, a young deputy with a shaving nick on his jaw, took the incident down in careful block letters. Case number 24-0712. He also, bless him, photographed the signs on my phone for his own file. "Sir, you want a patrol drive-by tonight?" he asked. I said yes. "A sheriff's vehicle parked on your road is a beautiful form of free advertising." Back home, I walked the rows again, because I had learned years ago that worry walks better than it sits. The dukeberries were at the blushing stage, deep Crayola blue with a gray haze of natural bloom on the skin. Hannah called that bloom the fingerprint of a ripe berry. Touch it wrong and you wipe the shine. At 3 that afternoon, the first car appeared. A silver Audi Q5 rolled slowly down the shoulder of Willow Glen Lane. Husband, driving, wife with a phone held up against the passenger window. 2 kids in booster seats pointing at my bushes. I walked to the fence and raised a hand. The wife lowered her window halfway. "Is the picking today or Saturday?" she asked. "There isn't any picking, ma'am. This is a private farm. Who told you there was—" She held up her phone. There, glowing on the screen, was Brenda Hollister's Facebook post. Bright, cheerful, shareable with a little banner graphic of cartoon blueberries. 78 reactions already, 23 comments. One of the comments was from Brenda herself. "Let's bring the whole cul-de-sac. This is what community is about." I smiled the smile of a man smiling at a train he is about to step off of. "That post is not accurate." I said. "There is no public picking. Please drive safe." They drove off. Their little boy looked back at the bushes like I had just canceled Christmas. By evening, the HOA's next-door thread had multiplied. Brenda had posted again, this time with the phrase, "Old man hoarding what should belong to the community." One comment stood out. A woman named Laura Bennett wrote Brenda, "This is somebody's livelihood. We need to stop within 11 minutes. 6 HOA loyalists had piled on her. In replies, she stopped posting. I took a screenshot of every comment. Hannah came into the kitchen as I was saving the screenshots. She watched over my shoulder for a moment, then set a jar of dry harvested honey on the counter between us. My grandfather always said, "Boss, if you're going to keep your temper, keep your notes." It was the first time I had ever wanted to hug her. Late that night, I stood in the dark at the edge of the field. The air smelled of bruised leaves from the afternoon's short hailstorm, and under that, the sugar smell of early ripe fruit. A grackle called once from the oak windbreak and went quiet. Somewhere in the darkness, a tractor idled at a distant farm, the diesel note low and steady as a heartbeat. I was not angry, I was calm. The way a man is calm when he has just realized he is not the prey. Wednesday morning, my motion cameras arrived. Overnight, I started installing them at sunrise. Wednesday evening, the cable channel aired TVW Willamette is the kind of low-budget community station that runs garage sale listings. Between segments about the county fair, I was eating a plate of scrambled eggs over the sink when I heard my own name come out of the television. In the living Concerns room about community access to the Brooks Farm on Willow Glen Lane, where long-standing easement rights appear to have been ignored by the current owner. I set the plate down slowly. Brenda Hollister was on camera. Fresh blowout coral lipstick. Seated at an HOA conference table that somebody had draped with a blue tablecloth. To look more official, she held up a single sheet of paper shoulder.